Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Does the Democratic Party hate the rich? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Talking Points is a regular guy. I think most of you who watch The Factor often know that. Sometimes I've been accused of being a bit too regular. Growing up on Long Island, my folks didn't have very much. We didn't have air conditioning, never bought a new car, ate SpaghettiOs and tuna. But never once did my parents show jealousy toward the rich people who lived in Garden City a few miles away. I never heard any of that. I heard, save your money and don't order an appetizer. That's what I heard. But America 50 years later is a far different place. Now we have class envy that is being stoked by the Democratic Party. Ironically, the media is part of the anti-affluent jihad, while many in the media are wealthy themselves. Same thing in Hollywood. You got these pinheads running around supporting the Occupy Wall Street protesters. When giving a chance, some of those occupiers would burn their Hollywood mansions to the ground. A new Gallup poll asks a very simple question. Do you think the U.S. benefits from having a class of rich people or not? 63% say yes, rich folks are okay, but 34% of Americans believe the opposite. However, when you break it down by party, 46% of Democrats believe wealthy Americans provide no benefit to the country whatsoever. Now, I take that very personally because I, your humble correspondent, against all odds, have become a rich guy. And here's exactly what I do for my country. I pay all my taxes. I have no offshore accounts, and everything the government wants, my accountant, Swifty, is under orders to pay. My foundation, named after my parents, gives away millions of dollars to the poor, to military families in need, and to fight disease worldwide. I employ dozens of people. BillO'Reilly.com is my small business. In addition, because The Factor is successful, people are hired by the News Corporation to work on the program. Also, because I work very hard, I employ people in my house and to do other things that I can't do. Recently, I thought about retiring, but I added it up, and more than 60 people would have lost their jobs had I packed it in. So now I hear that almost half of the Democratic Party believe I provide no benefit at all to America. Off the chart dumb. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a letter to President Obama asking him to publicly acknowledge my contribution to the USA. In his next press conference, I want the president to open up with, I just want you all to know what Bill O'Reilly is doing for the country. Am I asking too much? Am I out of line here? Bottom line, jealous pinheads hurt the country. I and others like me are helping it. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight. Reaction joining us from Boston, Marianne Marsh. And from Washington, Kirsten Powers. Both are stalwart members of the Democratic Party. Kirsten, we'll begin with you. Should you and Marianne, both of you, scold the Democrats who are demonizing the rich in this poll?
Well, I don't think they're demonizing the rich, actually. I think that they, first of all, 52% of Democrats actually do think we should have a class of rich people, which I disagree with. But I think the issue is the class, that we aren't supposed to have classes in this country. As you know, this country was founded on the idea of equality and not having an aristocracy and different classes of people living radically different lives. So I think that the question for me is, why do so many Republicans think that we should have a rich class?
All right. Well, Kristen, you've made so many mistakes in that one opening monologue.
I can't wait to hear.
I mean, I just want to point out that people like John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin were all members of the moneyed class and lived a lot differently than all the other colonists who were running around trying to grow stuff to live. And secondly, you say that the Democrats aren't demonizing. The question is, do you think the United States benefits from having a class of rich people or not? And 46% of Democrats say, no, there's no benefit, Marianne, for people like me. None. All right, so I should kind of move to Costa Rica and just get out of everybody's way.
No, we wouldn't want that to happen. But here's what's changed.
For yourself.
Is there anybody beside you?
Grand we.
Who's we?
Oh, there are millions.
Oh, I bet.
But here's what's changed, Bill. I mean, the majority of people, including Democrats, still want to be rich. What they've seen change is their ability to move up the economic ladder by working hard and playing by the rules derailed and replaced.
I hear this propaganda all day long. My father
not propaganda.
No, it is propaganda. My father worked very hard, And he came back from World War II, and he had a college degree. Right. He got nowhere, Marianne. Nowhere, okay? Why? Why? Because he didn't take enough chances. He was scared because he was a Depression kid. He got nowhere. And 90% of the people in my neighborhood, and 90% of the people in South Boston and Dorchester, and 90% of the people in the working suburbs of Washington are not going to do it either. They live good lives. My father had a good life. But he didn't leap classes. I'm the first one of the O'Reilly, Kennedy, McLaughlins, that's my family, since the famine in the 1840s. I'm the only one, Marianne, who's got out of that middle class, working class. The only one. So don't tell me it's stacked now. It's always been stacked.
Your great American success story.
What?
Yeah, but here's the difference, Bill. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Since the 80s in particular, here's the difference. We now have an economy that rewards those who least need it at the expense of those who can least afford it.
Oh, wait. How am I being rewarded by the economy? How? How?
I'm not pointing at you.
But you have to, because I made the talking points about me. No. I'm the guy that 46% of the people, and Kirsten is sticking up for him, Kirsten, okay, who say
I'm
at no benefit at all to this country. I gotta get out of here.
Bill, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean that you're no benefit. It doesn't mean that you're no benefit. The point is, no, it's whether no. It does not say that a rich person does not add any benefit to the country.
Do you think the United States benefits from having a class of rich people? I'm in the class.
A class of rich people. Okay, but there's a difference, because I do have an issue with the idea of having a class of rich people. I don't think that they should be treated.
It's not a class like we have, like we go and we have tea together. It's just defined by how much money you make, and that is in every system all over the world.
Okay, here, Bill, but except it is kind of like that, because what is happening is that people who live in the world of sort of the upper echelon live such radically different lives now from the rest of the country.
I hang with all my old friends. No, that's not true. You're stereotyping.
Most people do. I'm not stereotyping. It is so different now, and there really is such a disconnect. And what this is focusing on, I want to ask you, are you concerned about income inequality at all?
Income inequality?
At all?
Here's what I'm concerned about. The economy stinks because the federal government has botched it. If they get out of the way and let people develop small business, there'd be more jobs, and then you'd have more income. That's what I'm concerned about.
No, but income inequality has been ticking up nonstop.
Nobody gives you anything. You earn it.
It's not anybody giving you anything. It's a question of whether or not there is such a disparity between the increases. You have people in the middle class stagnating, just going like this, and you have the very upper class just getting the bulk of all of the benefits of this country.
I'm not Bunny Mellon, okay? I'm not getting anything. I work for it. And yeah, if you make it big in the major leagues, you get paid. If it's football, baseball, or TV. Marianne's last word. Go. I think the Democratic Party should be ashamed of itself for 46% of it saying guys like me do nothing for the country. I think that's shameful. Go.
I think we're missing the point here. This is more about the shrinking middle class who aren't getting the opportunities by the rules we used to play by. When you look at folks like Romney who go in, these guys went to that steel mill, worked hard every day. He walked out with millions of dollars. Number one. Number two, go back to the Clinton tax cuts. That created 22 million jobs. We have 23 million people unemployed. Problem solved. Erased the deficit from Bush 41 and left a $240 billion surplus. This is not tough, but that's all that has to happen. So no one's pointing the finger at anybody. You've got to restore the middle class.
You had a Democratic Congress, both the Senate and the House, and a Democratic president. They didn't restore bupkis. All right, ladies, thanks very much. Next on the Rundown.